So I sat here for the past 30 minutes and I was journaling about fear. And some morning time, I woke up like maybe 30-40 minutes ago. I came straight to the beach and I was so inspired by a quote. I had to journal about it and share with you guys on how this changed my life and how this is literally the philosophy I'm gonna take into every single other area of my life so I can complete the things I want to do. And it's all about leaning in to fear. So the quote is, "Fear is not the enemy, avoidance is." Powerful. Fear is not the enemy, avoidance is. Think of that. And I'll read to you what I have down here. What fear does is slither into our mind when we have to do something new or something uncomfortable. It tells us people are watching, staring, caring, gossiping, and judging. It's the anxiety behind your brain that's always there nagging. Most women go about their lives so fearful that their brain has nothing to do but avoid the thing they need to do. Like posting content for the first time. Will they judge me? Will they not accept me anymore? Will I embarrass myself? Fear comes knocking. It's like building a side income or business for the first time. Will I fail? What if it's not worth it? What if I'm not meant for this? What will my parents think? I'm in college, right? Or even starting your gym journey for the first time. What if they stare? What if they judge? What if I get made fun of? What if I embarrass myself with all of the machines? I'm new to this. What if I'm the only new person at the gym? But did you know that fear comes and creeps in on everybody? The successful content creators, the successful business owners, and the gym rats. Fear creeps in on everybody, no matter how successful or how new you are to the game. It comes and knocks on the door of every single person. Think about that. It doesn't matter if you're new. It doesn't matter if you're a professional. Fear comes knocking on the door. Fear is back there, the little thing back there. But what determines a successful person? The successful content creators, and the successful business owners, and the successful gym rats, they just know how to work with it, how to weather the storm, how to be somebody that leans into the fear because they know that it's gonna be there. They know it's always gonna be there. They know it's gonna be nagging at the back of their mind and back of their brain. It's up to you if you're gonna weather the storm and increase your reflexes and muscles around leaning into the fear. Your muscle on doing things anyway, no matter how you feel. The muscle of being that girl that lives the dream life and achieves the dream life and starts her journey so she can travel the world, books that first flight across the world, no matter what her parents think, no matter what her friends think, no matter if she's called crazy, no matter what's going through her brain. Being that girl that goes on the flight anyway, that goes to her destination by herself and meets new people and explores the city and explores the country and goes on hikes and goes on adventures and goes to see attractions and tourist attractions. Be that girl that does it no matter what people think of her, no matter what her hometown thinks of her. Why are we living life in fear? Fear of caring what people think. One of the worst fears out there, caring what people think. Fear of living an unfulfilling life, right? But you are self-sabotaging by living life for someone else. On the next part of my journal here, they just built their muscle of taking action stronger than their instinct to bow down to fear. Are you going to take action on that business? No matter what your parents think about you. They want you to go to college. I know they do. Are you going to take that step and post that first video as a content creator? No matter what they think. No matter what your hometown thinks. No matter what your parents think or friends or family think. Break out of that cage, because that is a self-afflicting, self-made cage that you're putting on yourself. Did you know that nobody is shackling you to your hometown? Did you know that nobody is shackling you to your job? Be that person that weathers the storm. Be that person with the fear nagging at every single inch of their heart, every single inch of their soul, telling them not to go, telling them it's better to stay the same, better to stay comfortable in their hometown, better to stay comfortable in their job. Be that person that understands that fear is going to be nagging at them, telling them that they're going to be isolated, telling them that they're going to lose their friends. Be that person that doesn't listen to that fear, or even listens to it, but continues anyway. Do you see the power in leaning into the fear and understanding what fear actually is, which is an illusion, so you can lean into it anyway? Fear is not the enemy. Fear might attack us, and you have to be that person that leans into the fear and does it anyway. Count to 3 and do it. That's the trait of a successful person. They built their muscle of taking action stronger than their instinct to bow down to fear. And they completely understand that they cannot avoid it, so they do it anyway with the fear. It's whether you can handle it. It's whether you can keep going. Can you identify avoidance? When you're avoiding creating the first video online, when you're avoiding to go to the gym for the first time, when you're avoiding doing that one thing, that one task you know deep down in your soul you have to do to start living the life you want to live. Maybe it's booking that flight for the first time. Maybe it's starting that diet and stop drinking energy drinks, or stop smoking, or stop the drugs. Maybe it's simply saying no one time in your life. No, I don't want to do this. No, I don't like how you expect that of me. No, I'm not going to live life on your terms. I'm going to live life on my terms. What is it? Can you identify avoidance? Because winners identify when their brain subconsciously is avoiding things in life. When you're avoiding sending the first pitch to your future customer with your first business. When you're avoiding that first day at the gym. When you're avoiding taking that first step on that new diet, that carnivore diet, or that diet that's going to help you be a deep thinker, help you stop the brain fog, help you decrease the depression, anxiety, ADHD, the fidgeting. The worst case scenario is bowing down to avoidance. Because fear or not, the job isn't done. I used to struggle with anxiety, and I had depression 3, 4, 5 years ago during COVID. And I was so fearful of what other people thought of me. I was so fearful, but I knew I had a calling deep down to live the life that I truly wanted to live. I would wake up every single morning at 6 a.m. I'd press snooze on my alarm 7 times before I was borderline late to my 30-minute commute to my job to Walmart in the morning. I'd wake up, I'd look at myself in the mirror, and I would call myself ugly, fat, even skinny, too skinny sometimes. And then I would begrudgingly get my clothes on, brush my hair barely, maybe do skincare, brush my teeth. And I would go down and I would start my car. And it was in the winter, the dead of winter, when I worked at Walmart back in Minnesota. 20 degrees out, if not negative 20 degrees out. And I'd have to start my car, wait there for 10 minutes for it to actually be warm enough, the engine, so I can drive to work so I don't wreck my car and the engine in my car. And then sometimes I'd have to stop at the freezing cold gas station, get gas, buy gas, put it in my car. And then drive 30 minutes to work listening to the new trap music, the new rap music, the new Sabrina Carpenter song, whatever was trending at the time. And I'd pound my brain with that music in the freezing cold, where I would breathe and my breath was showing in the car. Like my breath could breathe it and it was smoke. It was that cold. And I was freezing to death. I was shivering. I was wondering why I'm even living. And I was pounding my brain with trash music that was making me think unholy things and things that I don't even want to obviously think as a teenage girl at the time. Gross things that music was pounding in my brain at a different frequency, hypnotizing my brain to believe and be okay with the things, the inappropriate things these music artists were speaking about. And then I'd clock into work, and the second I walked into Walmart, I would struggle with eye strain from the fluorescent lights hitting my eyes. Sometimes I'd have to bring sunglasses or blue light glasses into work because my eyes were so damaged from those fluorescent lights. My eyes would water every single day, not just because of the fluorescent lights, but I'd have to scan groceries, and customers would have little inquiries about where is food and where is the pizza and where is this, and I'd tell them. But my eyes used to water not just because of the fluorescent lights, but because I had to associate with people and I had to talk with people. I had to talk to people. And it was they're all tiny conversations, but that's how much anxiety I had. I could not even speak to someone and look them in the eye because my whole life, I thought I was not good enough. I was not good enough for a life that I truly wanted to live. I was not good enough to travel the world. I was not good enough to start posting online. I was not good enough to achieve my dreams. I was not good enough to be successful, be rich, be a business owner. I was not good enough for anything. 3 months into the job, something clicked. After all of the groceries I scanned, after all of those degrading conversations I had with my coworkers who believed that Walmart was it for them, I called it quits on a random Wednesday night. I stopped avoiding and I started taking action, even when the fear was crawling and eating at me. Did you know that fear will creep in no matter what? Fear will creep in when you book that flight. Fear will creep in when you say no to the job, when you hand in your 2 weeks like I did. My boss was disappointed, but I told him, and he knew I had nothing, barely nothing to fall back on. But I knew I had to quit because that fire underneath me and that fear could propel me into the life I truly wanted to live. Remember, the people that use fear as a tool in their life are always the strongest in the mind, and that strength in the mind manifests into their ideal reality. Right now, if I stayed the same, and I decided to settle for less and not lean into the fear and just avoid what I knew I needed to do, put in that 2 weeks, right now, at this very moment, I would still be at Walmart. It's literally January. Still be at Walmart 3 years later, living a life that I did not like, living a depressing, lowly life in the same routine, the same things every single day, fake smiling, eyes watering, scanning groceries with the fluorescent lights above my head, acting like I wanted to live. But all I did that moment, that random Wednesday evening when I was staring up at the ceiling, I cried to myself on the way home because I embarrassed myself at work that day. And I was crying. I gave the customer the wrong groceries that day. That's why I was crying. And it tumbled into months and months of just tears and emotion built up about how much I hated my life and my job. And I have a video of me crying. And I post that video on my Instagram to show you guys I was at rock bottom too. Then I went home and I stared at the ceiling and I said I was done. I handed in my 2 weeks and I didn't actually go back to work after those 2 weeks. I left I completely left. And that was the best decision I've ever made. Even though fear was nagging at me and telling me, what do you have to fall back on? Fear was telling me, no, Gloria, how on earth are you going to be successful with your business? I was starting a content business at the time. Fear was telling me I wasn't good enough. Like the same way I told myself I wasn't good enough in the mirror every single morning. Fear was crawling at me. I wanted to put it to the side, and I decided I'm going to stop avoiding what I wanted to do in life and just go for it and just do it. So I took that step. I put in my 2 weeks, and that next month I've made more money in my life from my content business. I was getting scraps at the time when I was working at Walmart, but I made more money than I actually made at Walmart from my content business. And I knew that very moment I was free, simply because I stopped listening to the fear, and I separated fear from my actual thoughts. I separated fear from my actual brain, myself, and what I truly wanted, and I leaned into it anyway. And I weathered the storm, and I decided that fear is a tool. And the most successful people on this planet use fear to chisel and carve their ideal life from nothing. They're on a creating frequency where they can create from nothing. They can create from the energy and frequency from fear. Why? Because they understand fear is a frequency and an energy, and it's always going to be there. When you're doing something new, it lingers, right? Sometimes it's quieter, sometimes it's louder, but it lingers. The most successful people channel that energy and carve the life that they want to live with fear, because it's not going anywhere. Be that person that takes back control of their life by understanding fear isn't going anywhere, but avoidance is the number one thing that stops you from your goals. Avoidance is something that you can disintegrate by snapping your fingers. If you're fearful of starting that diet, if you're fearful of going to the gym for the first time, if you're fearful of starting an online business so you can change your life, quit college, quit your job that you hate, quit the nursing job, or quit the serving job, or quitting the barista job, or quitting the intern job. Imagine if you simply stopped avoiding it and stopped letting avoidance run your life, and you leaned in and chiseled with fear. That's how you take back control of your reality, your mind, your income, and your life. That's how you can travel the world and live a colorful life in 3D, where you can see layers and you can see things that the average person doesn't see, simply because you mastered your mind and you leaned into the fear that most people cannot do. The best part about leaning into the fear and showing yourself you can do things that you've never done before is looking at a past journal entry of yourself saying that you almost caved into the fear from a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or a past version of yourself, reflecting on a past version of yourself or past photos of yourself where you were succumbing to fear, so you can see how far you've come. Right now, take a picture of yourself, someone that's fearful. So 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 9 months from now, 12 months from now, you see a new beautiful version of yourself that's cultivated and that's appeared and manifested into this reality simply because you took that step, you took action, you put energy in motion to create somebody, a new version of yourself that doesn't submit to what other people think, that doesn't submit to fear and those disgusting thoughts it's sending into your brain, and someone that did not submit to avoidance.